It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. Welcome to Mind Your Business, ladies. I am thrilled that you are here with us. So I have Tricia Mumby. She's the co-founder of Mabel's Labels and also an AC mentor. And Mickey Campeau, director of programs and founder experience at Accelerator Centre out of Canada. That's what happens when you try to say the whole thing in your head really fast. No, but welcome to Bermuda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I stay?
Yes. We're recruiting.
Sign us up.
Yes. So today let's talk a little bit about Accelerator Centre, how BEDC has partnered with you to support our Enterprise Bermuda Incubator Program. And of course, Tricia, you've been one of our fabulous mentors that we've had the pleasure of meeting, and you've been working with some of our entrepreneurs. So I'm going to start with you. Before we get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am from Canada. I'm a mom, I'm a dog mom, and I was a co-founder of a business that started in 2002. We sold it in 2016. I sold to a big multinational company, and so I worked for that company for 4 years after the sale, which was really interesting to start from absolutely nothing to kind of a big business and then actually work for the world's largest printing company.
That's
in the
awesome.
end. It was a weird journey and really interesting and fun. And now I left the business in 2020, and I've been working with startups through different incubators.
Love it. Love it. Now, Mickey, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do for Accelerator Centre.
Sure. So I am Mickey Campeau. I am the director of programs and client experience at Accelerator Centre. I've been there for a very short amount of time, but my history goes back. I mean, I've been working with startups for, in one capacity or another, for about 20 years.
Okay.
And from companies looking for raising to accelerators and helping startups find connections. It's been quite the journey and a whole lot of fun developing programs that help. So
Yeah, it definitely helps us because we're always looking for opportunities to create opportunities and challenges for our entrepreneurs to get support that they need. And you guys just happen to be in Canada.
Yeah.
But we'll take it. So tell me what excites you most about working with entrepreneurs. I'll let you go first this time.
Sure thing. I love working with entrepreneurs because they're so passionate. I love hearing the stories of how they come up with the ideas, and then watching them grow. Like when they actually achieve what seems maybe to them is the smallest thing. Like they have a new follower on Instagram, their first follower, their first sale. Those things are huge celebrations for us. Like it's so much fun to see the gradual progression of the growth of the companies and watching them interact with other founders. Huge benefit to networking. Huge benefit to working with mentors and having that kind of idea switch go off and seeing that in their eyes and seeing something happen. I love it.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Like, I mean, I always say I live vicariously through the entrepreneurs that we support here, and it's definitely true for me. So I'll ask you the same question, Tricia. Because you didn't start out as an entrepreneur. You grew this business that everybody knows. I have children. So I was like, I know her. Celebrity, literally. Yes. And now you are supporting other entrepreneurs. So why?
It's just what I like to do. So ironically, no, I started out as a baby. I didn't start out as an entrepreneur. But my parents were entrepreneurs. Okay. And I grew up in an entrepreneurial household, which is a little bit bananas. And I was like, I'm going to grow up to be a person with a university degree, and I'm going to get a job and get a pension and a cubicle. That was But I found myself doing this anyway. And what I came to realize after I was bought by a big multinational company is I actually only want to talk to entrepreneurs. They're my people. And it's what I love to do. I don't like, I've had a few gigs since I left, being a consultant for private companies, and it's just not my favorite thing. I love working with idea people. I like working with the crazy people. I like working with the dreamers and the people that are a little bit afraid and a little bit nervous, but they're taking the chance anyway. Because they're the most interesting people.
Yeah, it definitely makes for an interesting day, right? Because you never know what you're going to get.
Oh, you never know what you're going to get.
That's very true.
And in some of our side conversations, you mentioned that you are a problem solver. You like to solve problems. And I think that's literally what entrepreneurs do, right? Yeah. They are like, this is broken, I'm going to fix it. Right?
Well, they don't have a choice. Unless they can afford to outsource it, they have to fix it.
Yeah.
And so they don't have a choice. And frankly, even if you can afford to outsource it, learning to solve your own problems is going to prepare you better for the next problem. So I love to help entrepreneurs overcome their problems, and sometimes it's so easy. They can do it. They just need to believe in themselves. And sometimes they need someone to believe in them. And that's what mentors do.
And I think it's funny because sometimes they come to you with a problem. And if you just listen long enough, they will solve it, right?
Yes.
You don't even have to say anything. You're like, oh, okay, so you're going to do that then, right?
Exactly.
You know what to do.
You know what to do
so
already.
Go do it.
Yeah. And maybe it's the reassurance to say, like, you're on the right track. Or, yes, you're thinking about this the right way.
Yeah.
So speaking about the reassurance part of it, Accelerator Center, talk a little bit about what you do, why you do it, and how you support entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so we have a huge focus on helping early stage entrepreneurs grow their business. So in Waterloo, our ecosystem is full of mostly tech companies. So we have the fintech and medtech and quantum companies and all kinds of companies. And what we do really well outside of our region is we reach out and we help international companies. So we try to look for companies that we can help lift and make connections, help grow however we can. We have this really great base of experts like Tricia and our others that help in all different categories. So we can help with financial, we can help with pitch coaching, we can help with customer experience, we can help with marketing. I mean, there's all kinds of things that stem from either the mentor's own personal experience or their corporate experience. There's lots that they bring to the table. And then from an Accelerator Center point of view, we build out the programs that have workshops and education and those important key learnings that are so important for them that are delivered through the mentors as well as through the staff. So some really key people helping make connections all over the world.
Yeah, and we're one of those connections.
And you're one of those connections.
So Tricia, I want to talk to you a little bit more about how you came to be a mentor for Accelerator Center. Like when you sold the company and you were like, okay, now what? How did this relationship happen?
The Accelerator Center was actually my first call. Okay. When I was running my business, I was so envious of and just admired everything that was going in the Waterloo region through these various accelerators. There's a bunch of them. Like, it is an innovation. They call us Silicon Valley North.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much going on there. But because I was so busy in my business, I went to the odd cocktail party, the odd event, but I didn't have the time to really immerse myself in it. So I honestly think it was my first day of fun employment, I call it. I called.
Oh, I like that.
I reached out to somebody there and I said, hey, do you guys happen to need an extra body? And they actually said no. At first, they said
really?
no.
I wasn't there then.
Oh my God,
I know, but because they're very purposeful about the mentors. And they didn't have many direct-to-consumer or product-based companies.
Got you.
So they called me maybe 6 months later and said, actually, we've got a couple of companies that could use you, which I think it's great to say no if they don't.
Yeah.
But in that time, I also signed up for 2 other accelerators. So
you're like, okay, I'll show you.
But it's occasional work.
Yeah.
It's very flexible work, and I just knew I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I knew it was a no-brainer.
I mean, lucky for us, though, because I think a lot of our stakeholders are in that kind of product space, and everything that you shared with us about your journey, I'm sure was like hitting home. The light bulbs were like flashing and blinking and all of that. So we are grateful that you said yes. She came.
I'm grateful, too.
Yes. So how long have you been a mentor for Accelerator Center?
I think 3 or 4 years.
Okay. So now I want to ask you a little bit about what your experience has been like working with our entrepreneurs, right? Because like you said, in Waterloo, they're mostly tech.
Yeah.
And ours are not. You know, most of the businesses that we support right now are lifestyle businesses. So how did you find that? What has that experience been like for you?
it felt very natural to me because my business started out as a lifestyle business,
right.
so I get it. But of course, I don't fully get the challenges that Bermudians face. It's very, very different.
Yes.
But so many things are the same. You know, I remember meeting with the air conditioning guy that I saw today, and I only met with him once. And honestly, the problems, it honestly is just an issue of confidence and boldness and going in and introducing yourself. It's just all the same things that young entrepreneurs, and I don't mean young in age, but early in your stage, face. So I don't know. It's every entrepreneur, I don't care if you're starting an airline or you're doing air conditioning in Bermuda, you face a lot of the same challenges. Just imposter syndrome, fear of failure.
Yep,
absolutely.
And those are just something that I think uniquely mentors can help with because they've actually been there. It's not like your business school teacher has necessarily been there.
Yeah.
And that's what mentors bring to the table.
Yeah, that's a good point because, you know, I often say, like, when we're doing these workshops or organizing these types of programs, it's one thing to say, okay, here's the curriculum, which AC provides, right? You do the workshops, you do the educational programs, but it's another thing to have someone who's been there, done that.
And
it's like, this is what I did when I experienced this one thing. And I know that there are some problems or challenges in Bermuda that are unique to the jurisdiction because of the size, because we have to import everything. And, you know, we got 63,000 people. I know. Yeah. So when you're thinking about like scaling a business or something like that, it's like, how do you do that when you're only have so many people to deal with? And I would imagine that those may be some of the conversations that you have had. Like, how do you answer that?
I think you have to get creative. You know, the looky example for me is, I do remember meeting with her and saying, I don't like the website, and no. And then as I've learned more about Bermuda, I realized the website isn't important at all.
Yeah.
You need to get the people from the cruise ships to walk down the street
and find you.
You need to, so when I was chatting with her today, and she did say, I still want to make changes to my website, I said to her, I don't think your website don't put that much work into it. Use Linktree as your website. Because really, you just want people to get a feeling for what they're going to see when they walk in. But I don't think, e-commerce isn't a thing here, which is so weird for me. My whole world is e-commerce. And so at first I didn't get it. So it took me a minute to catch up to the Bermudian way. And so I think it's a challenge for us to mentor, but we need to understand we need to get some understanding and not just force our typical answers onto your customers because they're not.
It's not. It's a little different. Yeah. But one of the things that I can say based on the feedback is that they almost like the fact that you don't really know because you're not encumbered by the fact that that's an issue, right? So you're like thinking like, well, I will do this. And, you know, why not you? And they're like, really? Okay. All right. Well, let's try. So I do think it's a bit of both. But now that you've been here, you literally can see what they've been saying to you. And you're like, oh, they just weren't just giving me some kind of excuse. These are like real kind of fundamental problems that we have to try and figure out how to overcome. So for me at BEDC, it's our job to try and problem solve that.
Yes.
You know, some of the bureaucracy, some of the policies that need to change, creating opportunities and partnerships with places like Accelerator Centre so that we can try and figure out the how.
And only you can do that. Like you've mentioned many things today that none of us would have a clue of.
Yeah.
So it does the partnership is smart.
Right.
So smart.
We do our part. You do your part. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to listen to what they're saying too.
Yeah.
Right? So that's good that you play that part.
So you mentioned, Mickey, that you have international partnerships.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about those other partnerships and how you see those partnerships enhancing what you offer your own stakeholders in Waterloo?
Absolutely. So I think one of the big takeaways from any of the international relationships that we have, and we've had a few over the years, that it's a draw to Canada, checking out the Canadian market. It is a lot about exporting. It's a lot about coming to Canada, experiencing what the Canadian business kind of landscape looks like and feels like. So entrepreneurs will sometimes come to us and take a tour around and check out Toronto and check out Waterloo, the Silicon of the North, and have those conversations. But I think at the end of the day, the more connections that we build globally, it helps strengthen the relationships that we can help our founders with, so that we can make those connections. So if somebody's looking to talk to someone or to grow in New Zealand or in Bermuda or anywhere else that we have worked with companies, that we can kind of forge those relationships. And I think I mentioned earlier how much of it, like, I enjoy that connection part.
Yes.
Like, I can have a conversation, go, oh, you need to talk to Bill.
Yes.
You need to talk to Susan. And I can do those things. So this to me is very much along those lines too. We were having a conversation at lunch today, and someone wants to be starting a school. I'm like, I know somebody that did that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You should talk to them.
Yes.
So it's like that for me.
Yeah.
It's very much about connection and listening and who do I know, who can help. And these programs help us do that on a global scale.
And I would say that it's important for us in Bermuda, because we're so small, to have those connections, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's a strategic partnership, because there are some of our entrepreneurs who do want to scale outside of Bermuda, who are ready to do that. And we don't know. I don't know what to tell them or who to tell them to talk to. But you said Bill might help them with that.
Bill might, Susie, whoever.
So how did we get in touch with Bill? No. So I do think that it is important. It helps us achieve our mission. It helps you achieve your mission.
Absolutely.
And all of that. So I want to go back to you, Tricia. Okay. We want to talk about, because we haven't said the name. Well, I said it when I introduced you. The name of your business, Mabel's Labels.
Yes.
All the moms know this business, right? Because
yes, we do.
We all suffer the same thing. If I have to buy another water bottle, listen.
It was always the water bottle.
What?
Yes. It's always the water bottle.
And they're not cheap.
They're
if
not
you
cheap.
get the big insulated ones. So.
Yeah, I know.
So let's talk about a little bit about your origin story. Okay. I know we've heard it already because we got the privilege of hearing you speak about that. But for those who weren't at that Lunch and Learn, just talk a little bit about that and how it seemed like organically happened.
It was very organic. We were young moms. We kind of knew how to do printing. We kind of made a website, like got a buddy to make it and trade for a foosball table.
That's awesome.
We started it on very little money, bootstrapping, no risk, scary. But because it was a product that solved a real problem that people could relate to, that the moms could relate to, it really took off. Like if I were to start another business, I would start a business directed at women. Women talk about products. Women talk about things. If something actually works for you, you find that perfect lip stain that you really like.
Yes.
You're going to tell your friends.
Yes.
And so women are just really sneezy, we call it in marketing. If they find something good, they don't keep it a secret. And so that was just by chance. Like, we were trying to solve our own problem, really, in the beginning. But marketing to women is a wonderful business to be in because they just share. So it was very viral. It was a product that went very viral because it was novel. It solved a real problem, and there wasn't an alternative for long. We got copied very early on, which on one hand made us really, really angry but that was helpful because the more companies that were out there stirring the market, the more the need was apparent.
Right.
And we also say if we hadn't gotten so angry, we wouldn't have gotten so hungry. And so, like, you get 4 women that are angry.
Ooh. That's a force.
It's a force. And so it's actually quite a blessing that we got copied as quickly as we did because it made us really work harder and work smarter and just go after it because we were going to crush them. We were going to crush them.
Yes. I love it.
I
It's
like
just
that.
like crush them with a smile.
But that's great.
But they helped us build the market awareness.
Yes. And crush them you did. Because I'm telling you, I think we're in Bermuda and we have Mabel's Label.
Yes.
Well, Rebecca, who owns Tabs, she was like, "Oh my God, I saw it." I was like, I'm like, all the moms know, and it's true. Like, we will share if it works. Then we're gonna tell somebody. So I think it's interesting that you said that if you were to start another business again, which are you?
No.
She's like, no.
That'd be like all the dirt just comes out here. We got all the secrets when we're down here. Love it.
She's like, no, absolutely not. No. But if you were, you would focus it on something for women.
Marketing to women is, honestly, marketing to men is really hard. They don't talk about things. They don't post things on Facebook. They don't post their cool new tool on Instagram. I mean, I know 7 of them do, but that's not enough to run a business. Like women just love to talk about products. They leave reviews, they tell their friends, they call customer service and give a tip. You know, I just bought this thing and it's really great, but it would be better in purple. Like women just do that.
Yeah. That's interesting because I know sometimes we have people who come, they want to do something, but they're not quite sure. On occasion, they will come and be like, so I've been thinking about this, but I'm not sure. But hearing you say that, it's like, well, perhaps whatever you do, it should be something that is targeted to women.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, men do buy things. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for me, I just found it easier as a woman, knowing how a woman's mind works.
Yep.
And knowing that if you solve a problem for a woman, she's just so grateful. We're busy. Mm-hmm. They want to save money.
Very true. You're
make a woman's life easier, and
yes. Yep. You have one already. So what are some of the common traits that you see? So I would say within Bermuda, but across those you have mentored, that you have seen in some of your
certainly imposter syndrome. Men and women suffer from this. They feel a little embarrassed to come out of the closet with their business idea, and they feel like they don't belong in places, and they're nervous to ask for help or pitch for money or apply for that grant, apply for that loan, and so that's extremely common. It's everyone's.
Yes.
Right now, everyone is struggling with pay-per-click advertising. The market is really saturated. The organic growth on organic reach from all the socials, the algorithms changing, fighting with Google. Everyone struggles with Shopify and keeping up with the technology, and just the super busy, noisy environment we live in. It's hard to get people's attention.
It is.
It is very hard.
I'd say those are my common things.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mickey, on that note, when it comes to getting people's attention, and I had the opportunity to visit Waterloo, so I did the little, went to visit a few accelerators and incubators, which was really cool. How do you identify an ideal person or candidate to participate in Accelerator Center? And do you find that there is competition amongst you, or is it a more collaborative type of approach?
Interesting, because historically, we've never said that it's a competitive landscape.
Yeah.
But I think we all have felt it on one level or another. But that's changing. It's so interesting. The Waterloo landscape, as you said, there are many different accelerators and incubators and organizations that help companies grow, everything from a small business center all the way straight through to scaling business growth. And what I'm finding is that the Waterloo ecosystem is extremely friendly.
Yeah, it is. I found that when I was there.
So the CEO at our organization, for example, Ruth Castleman just came on this year, and one of her big goals is just bringing the community together. So we're doing some tech mixers, and we're organizing these great big community-wide events where we're pulling in clients from everywhere, and it's not to take the clients. There's no competitive landscape here. It's just to bring everybody together so that we can have the conversations and we can talk and we can listen and we can hear what's going on, and so we can all do what we do best in separate areas. Because ideally we all do something excellent in different areas.
Right.
So there's no reason to really compete. Clients can be clients at all accelerators. There's no, you can only come to us. You can't go to them.
You're banned. If you go over there, that's it.
Oh, don't go there. No, we have some really great places in the area, really great advisors in town. My only advice to people when they come on to any kind of mentorship program is to be careful. You kind of said it in your talk today at lunch. Be selective about what advice you follow.
Yes.
And the second piece is try to get advisors who give you advice on different things so that you're not talking to different accelerators on marketing.
Right.
So marketing, because I'm going to get marketing advice here, and then I'm going to go here, and this marketing person's going to tell me to do something else, and then this marketing person's, diversify.
Yeah.
Right? Go to this one. If you want to belong to many, that's okay. Go to this one, and get some general business advice. Maybe this one has a specialist you identify a little bit more or can relate to a little bit more. Get different help from different people so you're not constantly being bombarded with people pulling you in different directions.
Yeah. And I found that when I visited, I was like, it's like kumbaya. We're all singing.
We do. There's a lot of respect in the organization.
It was awesome.
In the region.
I loved that because I think, like you said, there's something the Accelerator Center is great at, and then another incubator or accelerator is great at something else. And the entrepreneurs were like, yep, been there, I went there. And so I think that there is space for that.
Yes.
Especially when you're trying to get this business from like zero to unicorn. Like, can we get one of those, please? Yes. Where do they hide out at? So talking about like unicorns and things like that would be a dream, I think, of ours, is to incubate a baby business that grows up and turns into some crazy $1 billion business. Like, oh my God, I would be like, oh my God, I was part of that.
So, that's how we feel. There's a few big companies that have come out of the accelerator that I didn't meet with because I only joined a few years ago.
Yeah.
But those names still come up.
Yes.
The mentors that got to work with them still talk about them.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I remember when, and I told them to do that thing, and I actually like do that a little bit now with our businesses. I'm like, oh my God, I remember when it was just an idea and you were like doubting yourself, and I was like, no, you got to do it, quit your job. But so talking about that and how you like inspire entrepreneurs, or we talked about imposter syndrome, which I think we all suffer from. You have to like keep having that self-talk. We talked to one of the entrepreneurs today, and they were just like, this fear of stepping out and doing this thing, it sometimes can hold you back. Like, how do you coach or mentor your entrepreneurs out of that?
I don't know. I just tell them they don't have a choice. Like, so if you want to, if you don't want to take
get on with it.
If you don't want to put yourself out there and you don't want to take any risk, you need to get a job.
Yeah.
But if you don't want a job, you have to take risks. And my advice about practicing to get over it is to just pretend to be somebody else. Pretend to be, picture yourself giving a talk as if you were on TV.
Yeah.
If you're going in and introducing yourself and you're really nervous about it, picture yourself being, I don't know, I can't think of you're Nicole Kidman on some show. You're Beyonce. You go in and you just do your Beyonce. You just fake it. It's a script. It's got to be well practiced, but just pretend to be somebody else.
I think that's a good idea, because even Beyonce, she says when she goes on stage, she turns into Sasha Fierce, right? So she has her own stuff. We're trying to be her. Meanwhile, she's being someone else.
As it's coming out of my mouth, I think that sounds like terrible advice, because everyone else says, be yourself. Be your authentic self. But if your authentic self is going to vomit in front of an investor, don't be your authentic self.
There's a time and a place to be your authentic self and to be Beyonce.
Yes,
right?
for sure.
There's a time.
For sure.
Yeah, pump yourself up, like self-talk.
Yes.
And also just visualizing the end dream. If you can't picture being in Bermuda on a yacht someday, then you're never going to do it.
That's true.
And you're not going to get there without walking into that room and pitching your thing, or asking for that partnership, or asking for that deal.
That is so true.
And they're not alone. They all feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You as an entrepreneur feel
like
you're the only one going through it. And that's not true. Because everybody is either being their Beyonce when they're talking to you, or they're not talking to you.
Yes.
So create the conversations with other founders. Find organizations where you could network with other entrepreneurs and just talk and listen to each other.
Yeah.
I have a little secret club of women entrepreneurs that I've known for a decade or more, that we all met through a business coach, and we all just stayed in touch. And just today, one of them, who's a very successful entrepreneur, sent an email and pitching to a big, gigantic U.S. chain. She's pitching her product to a big U.S. chain today. Wow. And she's like, guys, I need good thoughts. Give me whatever. And
I love it. And you're like, you've been there, done that.
You can do this. It's no problem. Of course they want you. Yeah. To this day. And this is like a woman with 20 years experience being an entrepreneur. We still, to this day, need to go out to our people and say, somebody cheer for me today. Yeah. And so find entrepreneurs finding their own little secret club of founders, which I really hope. There were some wonderful people in that event today. I hope they can be friends with each other. I hope they can create their own little cheering club.
And, you know, funnily enough, not necessarily funnily enough, but that's part of the reason why we even started this thing, right?
Yes.
Because people say, oh, it's nobody thinks like me. Like all my friends are gone to get degrees.
Says that, yeah.
It's the same story, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, well, how can we create a space where you're around other people that think like you?
Yes.
You may have similar challenges, or you may have had a challenge that you've overcome that now this person has, and now you can support them. And so I think really that was kind of the thing that led us to saying, let's go ahead and create this thing so we can have a space where entrepreneurs can talk to each other and share stories and share solutions and that sort of thing.
So important.
It is hugely important.
I remember back, I ran a round table once, and I had an entrepreneur from every entrepreneur. There was different nationalities, there were different backgrounds, there was different industries. They were all early stage companies. One was like into something to do with biology. One was a brewmaster. One was owned a gym.
Yeah.
And somebody was a tech software developer. I had all these people sitting around, and I was thinking, oh gosh, are they going to find anything in common?
Yeah.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, it was the best conversation ever. Because the one creating something in biology, the guy making the beer said, hey, if I put that into my beer, I make a healthier beer. And she's like, yeah, in theory you would. So then they started talking, and the software guy needed to work out. So he and the gym membership guy started talking about those things. And once you just like all start talking, and then it's like, oh, my friend knows somebody that could help you, or I know somebody that could do that cheaper and faster.
Yeah.
And so you start sharing distribution contacts and supply chain contracts and, you know, contacts and all of these things. And it's amazing. You don't have to hang around to people all the time. They don't have to be.
Especially for solo entrepreneurs.
Yes.
With no partner, you got nobody.
You need to talk.
You have to find your circle.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you said today, Tricia, which I thought was really impactful, is that you have to be talking about what it is that you're doing and how you guys made it a rule within your organization that you have to do it. Like, if we're paying for you to get on this plane, you have to do it. Because sometimes it's easy to just,
I used to do it. I used to be like, what do you do? Oh, I have a small business. That would be my answer. Yeah. No, I had to put on my fake Beyonce. I run a company that makes labels for children's things. You'll no longer lose all of your things. With this one label, your life's about to change. And that was very difficult for me to do, but I just learned I had to. And that is the truth. If you aren't proud enough of what you're doing, why should anyone else be proud to be your customer?
I love that. Yep. Can you believe it's been 30 minutes?
Nope.
We've been talking for 30 minutes. Didn't it go fast?
It really fast.
It always goes fast when it's good conversation. But I think what you said is spot on. Yeah. Because I think, especially in Bermuda, where it is so small, sometimes they hold the ideas so close to their chest, and they're missing out on opportunities to network and find a partner, find a team, find the person that can answer the question that they've been pondering on, but they can't tell nobody because, somebody might take my idea. And it's like,
oh, that's a big one too.
It's huge here. Huge here. And so that's like a whole different conversation. And we're like, if you don't tell anybody, how can anybody help you?
Yeah.
You know, how can you get the
find
support
that
you need?
Anger to spur you forward. Right?
Yeah. So look, it has been so nice having you here in Bermuda, first of all. But thank you for
back, mid-February.
We'll come back monthly. Whatever you need.
Of course.
We'll just stay. How about that? We'll just stay.
I love it. No, but thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting our entrepreneurs throughout this program, and also for being willing to have this conversation so those that aren't in the program can still benefit from the knowledge and your experiences as well. So what would you like to leave us with?
I think, well, first of all, thank you for the partnership, because I think it's wonderful for us to open up, and get outside of our regular kind of Waterloo district, kind of what's going on in our own region, and to see what's out there and how we can help and lend our expertise out to other areas in the world. But I think, quite honestly, meeting the entrepreneurs, they're all so passionate and lovely, and I want the best for all of them. So I think going forward, continuing some kind of a partnership, looking at what that looks like. How can we keep adding to it? How can we keep doing more? Are there opportunities to get Canada and Bermuda talking to each other? So when we talk about entrepreneurs talking together, maybe there's some entrepreneurs that we can get mixed in.
Yes, I would love that.
I think that would be really great.
Let's
so I think, okay. But I think that's what I want to leave with is how can we further develop these entrepreneurs and get them supported in other areas as well. So I'd love that.
You think like me.
Good stuff.
Tricia?
Well, I'm fascinated that you have this podcast and this recording, and there are people that will watch and listen that are not a part of your program.
Yeah.
My biggest thing that I tell everybody, and I said it already several times today, if you're not part of an incubator or an accelerator already, what are you doing?
Yes.
What are you doing with your life?
Because it's very lonely.
Yeah,
and
it can be.
it's very hard to learn on your own.
It can be.
And so, honestly, the fact that these things exist now, everybody should be a part of one.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Well,
we
thank
have
you.
minded our business today. And remember, if you don't mind your business, who will?
Who's gonna?
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.